Welcome to the family with
Mike Stretch Gelfand.
And Andy Barnard.
what more could you ask for? That's all I have to say. I read three headlines, and then we're going to move on to the real news of the day. Well, I mean, this is real news. Don't get me
This
wrong.
is real news. It's never good.
Well, that's true. Liz Cheney will campaign with Harris in Wisconsin while Trump holds a rally in Michigan. That's the number one story in AP. Who cares?
Well, it's like that, the morning thing. Here's what's happening today.
Yeah.
They want to make everything seem immediate. Like when you watch the ABC News with John Muir,
Mm-hmm.
and they cut to the reporter on site.
Mm-hmm.
The first word they always use is tonight or today.
Today.
That's the exact first word they all use because they want to make everything seem immediate.
No, I suppose.
So they'll say
breaking.
Yeah, well, they say today more than 100 people are dead in North Carolina. That kind of thing.
As opposed to yesterday.
As opposed to yesterday.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, by the way, Florida communities hit by 3 hurricanes in 13 months. It says in a 13 months.
In a 13 months.
Well, it's artificial intelligence. Sometimes it's not quite perfected yet.
Right. National news, and it says in a 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
Grapple how to rebuild. Hit by 3 hurricanes in 13 months. Jesus. And then finally, this one's for Gelfand. Andy, you have to understand Mike is deeply into this stuff, so be a little understanding. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Influential prophesizing pastors believe re-electing Trump is a win in the war of angels and demons.
Well,
all the demons in living near me are on their way to the synagogue today.
They're all demons?
Well, of course. Don't you know that?
They're all demons?
Hey, in the white nationalist, Christian nationalist world, they are the demons.
hey, if Trump ever fought a demon, like an actual, he went down to hell and fought demons,
Sure.
like in Doom, I would totally vote for him.
No, that's true. That's true. But Mike, everybody's going after the Jews now. Why is that?
Well, it's in fashion. It's easy, and it's a simple solution to a complicated problem. So we'll just blame the Jews.
But it seems to me that the liberals are the ones going after the Jews now. That's what they're reporting on the news anyway.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of that would be true on the college campuses, except those kids are they're not liberals. They're fanatics. There's a big difference. They're radicals, true radicals. But the liberals are the ones, who are belonging like to the, things really silly things like, the Young Jewish Federation or something,
Yeah.
So they're different cults, but it's real easy. Like I say, it's an incredibly complicated problem there. Obviously, it's because it's been going on for thousands of years. So now it's easy to say, especially because Netanyahu he's a war criminal.
Yep.
He doesn't need to do all this. He could actually take part in trying to find some sort of détente anyway.
Not his deal.
Not his deal, because he can't get reelected that way.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. But I mean, it's just one of those situations. Here's what I understand about that. And I always make the point. And just to be a kind of a dink, I've been shoving that up their butt about calling me all those names for saying we should all assimilate.
Yeah, right.
Or hit the goddamn
We sure
road.
did that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Just did a wonderful job with it. But here's what I understand. I hate Jews. You hate everybody who's a Jew? So all Jews are the same. Is that what you're saying?
Excuse me while I just clip that sound bite there.
Yeah, you want to clip it out? You're going to be playing it, are you? Thank you very much. I don't understand. So all Jews are the same. All Catholics are the same. All black people are the same. We haven't gotten past that.
No.
Why?
Again, people are looking for someone to blame. They're looking for a target, and it's real easy.
But can they be that stupid to look there for your target? They're that dumb.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. They don't really want to look and see what the real issues are, what the problems are.
I don't understand it. I wish everybody would just calm the hell down. Once you live your life, how about that action? There you go.
Yeah, well, it would be nice, but yeah, these are tough times.
Not really happening. Well, they're tough times because it's things that, when you walked in the door, what about 10 very famous people have died in the last 2 weeks? What the hell's going? Is that a going into winter thing or something?
It's just like there are so many celebrities
Yeah.
And in the case that we're talking about, true celebrities, though, have died in the last week.
Yep.
I mean, we start with John Amos,
Mm-hmm.
who, of course, was, people think of him as being in what's the TV show?
Good
Times.
Good Times.
Good Times.
Good Times.
Is that it? Yeah.
I think so.
And I know nothing about the guy except that. But then I was reminded that he was also one of the major stars in Roots.
Oh yeah.
So he was
right,
also a very serious actor.
Yep.
And he was good.
He was, yeah.
And so there was him, Chris Christopherson. I wasn't a huge fan, but he had some pretty good lyrics, though. And then, of course, he was a terrible actor,
and a terrible singer.
A terrible singer, exactly.
He figured it out, though, somehow.
Well, I think he charmed people. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't a bad guy or anything.
Nope.
So there was that. And of course, Dikembe Mutombo, the great NBA player.
Whoa. That just triggered something in there for Andy. What's that all about?
It's this shit system.
Oh, God, I thought I was being played off the stage.
Well, that's going to do it for today's show, Mike.
Out the shepherd's crook.
So anyway, Mutombo was a great guy and really devoted his life to helping people who were disadvantaged, including people in his own country, but going way beyond that. But then I guess the one that hits home to me the most is Pete Rose.
Yep.
Charlie Hustle. He was a different kind of guy. He should have been a role model for but he never was a role model.
No, he was not.
Because, when you call him Charlie Hustle, he not only was Charlie Hustle when he played, he was Charlie Hustler afterwards. So he hustled all the way. He was the kind of guy who could just with sheer passion and energy, he could turn a single into a double. Today's great ones in baseball turn doubles into singles.
Yes, they do.
And you see it almost every game. You'll see it. A guy making $25 million a year.
Yep.
He hits a long fly ball, and he stands there and he thinks to himself, maybe I should run, but I sure would look foolish if I ran as fast as I could and then it was a home run. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit here and wait and see what happens. Well, what happens is in many cases, a triple can turn into a single.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got to wait and see. And, well, ball goes right off the wall. And sometimes it goes right into the glove, say, of the center fielder. Throw comes into second. And I've seen what I really like is then when they're thrown out.
That's Carlos Correa.
Trying to get a double. Well,
he's a good example of that.
And he's the guy, you would never think that about him.
I know. You're right. You're right.
But, I guess, and I don't want to say, we just talked about this. I don't want to lump everyone into the same category. But, it does seem like there is an infection there where they're making a lot of money and they're stars. And I think maybe they don't want to run as fast as they can. They want to sit there because that's what everybody else does.
I guess.
It's really pretty sad. I ran into Rose, and this won't surprise you. I ran into him at Gulfstream Park.
Oh, okay.
Great racetrack.
Yeah, you love the racetrack.
Excuse me. So he just showed up there. It's like they wasn't advertised or anything, but I walk in the place and there he is by outside the track, like when you come in, right around where the horses go, trot around the ring before they go onto the track. He's there and he's selling memorabilia. He's signing autographs.
Really?
Oh, and he's signing autographs. I mean, you could get his autograph signed probably for like $10 or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you could bring a baseball card. Other people knew about it, but I didn't. But then also, what he was known for is like, for example, he played 3,215 games, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it takes a long time to do that. And so, he would go around selling like a bat he used in that 3,215th game. Well, after he'd sold like 25 of them, you started to wonder, was this really authentic?
Well,
But that's what he would do. And the craziest thing about it all, though, the morality lesson here is that he got banned from baseball because he bet on his own team. Now, he always bet on his team to win. Mike.
Yes, he did.
But nevertheless, this was a bridge too far or a base too far. And they were disgraced. Major League Baseball was disgraced. They banned him forever from everything. God. And banned from the Hall of Fame, you name it. He was banned. Now today, at my latest count, there are 10 stadiums that have sports books inside the building.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Maybe there's a little hypocrisy there.
Just a little. Yeah, he never ever look, you cannot bet on your team to lose because you have too much control.
Well, that would be awful.
That would be
betting
awful.
on your team to win is just not smart.
Well, there you go.
I mean, betting is, but when I covered baseball, which was in the 70s, at the start of every season, an FBI guy would come into the locker room and give a little sermon to the players about you don't bet on a game. If there's someone is a gambler, you don't talk to him, you don't look at him, you don't shake his hand. This is where trouble starts. What happened to that? I don't think the FBI comes around anymore.
No, I don't think I think you're absolutely right.
The
about
FBI is
that.
too busy downloading DraftKings onto their phones.
Yes,
exactly.
and not seeing would-be assassins on roofs.
Well, that too. It is crazy. I watched a football game for the first time in, I don't know, 25 years or so. On what was it, Saturday? When did the Vikings play the Packers?
Sunday.
I was at Melissa's mom's house and they were watching the game. It is crazy how many of the ads are for sports betting.
Oh yeah.
It's like every other ad is about betting on the game.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is not just that they're all about betting. It's that the richest and unfunniest comic in the world is on about half those
I know.
ads.
Yeah.
And who would that be, Mike?
Yeah, Kevin something. Kevin. It's not Smart. I know that. Hart. Yes, Hart.
Yeah,
he's a guy
terrible.
without a heart, but a lot of money.
Terrible.
Yeah, no, he brags that he isn't funny.
He kind of does.
Brags
doesn't
about it. He says,
does.
I've never written a joke. Well, he's never written a joke because he couldn't.
No.
It's not that he's opposed to it. He just doesn't, he's not able to do it. So he gets on stage and, he talks about various things and he yells a lot and people laugh.
Yep. That's been a thing for a long time. The guy who just yells instead of is clever.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in this, but his voice really bothers me. Just the voice bothers me.
Why? Because his accent is undistinguishable.
No, it's just there's something about it that just seems so artificial.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He does the over the top ghetto voice thing.
Sometimes. He kind of minces around a little, but sometimes that. And he does it. It's almost like he's trying to sound like a really old guy sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he's sort of emulating Red Fox.
Oh, that would make sense.
I loved Red Fox.
Well, he was great. Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
All those smutty albums he put out.
Oh, he put a lot of smutty albums out there.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a man with bravery. He was the very first black comedian to appear at an all-white casino in Vegas.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
He walked out on stage and it was, hey, man. And I guess the people just loved it. They thought he was terrific.
Well, the first time I was ever in Las Vegas, and this was like, 1962, I would say.
Oh, okay.
So it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And my mother and I were visiting my mafia cousin.
So you're like 14, 15 at the time?
I was 12.
12.
Yep,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
12.
true. Yeah. You're
Yep.
12. Yeah.
I was a little lad. And, but it was cool to have a cousin who worked in a casino.
Mhm.
He had a gift shop. But he had a gift shop and the gift shop did really well because people would hit the jackpot and then they'd go into the gift shop and they'd buy something expensive for their wife and their mistress.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were doing well, but every hour some guy with an Italian accent would come in and just open up the register and reach in. So it was a hard time for him just to keep any of the money. And so, but black comedians were starting to become popular then, way back then, but it was very hip. And so the star of the show was Bill Cosby.
Oh, Bill, your buddy.
Bill, well, everybody's, yeah. He, in fact, I think he gave roofies to the crowd because no one was really laughing.
Oh,
but I thought he was funny. I didn't get it all because he was working blue. It was a casino.
yeah, that's true.
He he sort of advertised himself as just sort of a clean cut college boy, right? Because he was fresh out of Temple University.
Yeah, that's right.
But
that's exactly right.
But he was the star, and trying to remember who the opening act was. Oh, it was the guy who sang Lemon Tree.
Very pretty. Oh, the lemon flower is sweet.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Peter, Paul, and Mary?
Well, I think they covered it too.
Oh, it was, yes.
Okay.
But it was a Mexican guy.
Lemon Tree, really?
Trini Lopez.
Oh, Trini Lopez. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that he did the original song.
I don't know.
But there's nothing like a song. Nobody will ever try again when Peter, Paul, and Mary cover it.
Yeah, I suppose
because it's
true.
the passion,
Yeah, you're right. In the late 50s, yeah, it was written in the late 50s, released in 65, but apparently Peter, Paul, and Mary actually released the song first.
Oh, okay.
Despite it being written much earlier.
Yeah, and he obviously was performing the song, but he may not have even had a label then.
Yeah, maybe not. That's true. Trini Lopez, there's a name. That's going back, a blast from the past right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I'm assuming he's no longer with us.
No, 2020.
Oh, so it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
Andy, you look back at that situation, and I mean, you were what, about, I think, 10 or 11 the first time you went to Vegas?
When was that?
I think you were about 10 or 11 years old.
Pokemon
like
Gold came out in 99. I was 12, yes.
He uses Pokemon Gold coming out. So you were 12 years old.
It's my chronological milestone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Jimmy Jones had just come out with, yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
I think
it's 12 or 13.
I think of all that stuff, that whole run over at the Q and doing all those appearances. I mean, that one appearance we made in Vegas had 5,000 people in the audience.
Man.
Remember how that thing was moving, baby?
And there were at least 100 of them who were sober.
No, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm exaggerating, of course.
But I mean, Andy, looking back, I suppose it doesn't mean anything to you because you've met every famous person in the world and you've been around that stuff and big 5,000 this. And I mean, I suppose it just seems normal to you.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if did I ever go to the morning show?
No, you didn't.
I don't think
Mom
I
and
did.
Alex did, but you didn't.
I was too tired.
I was too tired to support my dad.
Yep.
Way to go.
You had 5,000 people. You don't need 5,001.
That's true. Very good point. But
I'm a rounding error at that point.
no, that's what they were trying to talk. They were trying to talk me into writing a book now about my career and all that stuff. Maybe you should write a book about being the kid of me and how much torture it was.
Well, it is the thing right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the
children
first.
of celebrities writing books. It's like a thing right now.
About how horrible their
reason.
parents are.
Most of them, yes.
Dear Mommy. Wasn't that the
Mommy Dearest?
Mommy Dearest?
Mommy
Dearest,
That may have started that
absolutely.
whole genre.
You may be right about that.
Well, that was
Mommy
not a
Dearest.
positive movie.
No, or book. No.
Don't put the curtains on what was it again? The
No
wire
wire hangers ever.
No wire hangers ever. That's what it was. Absolutely.
The wire hangers make creases in your clothes, so you don't look good. So you can't use them.
Boy, I tell you, that's a tender mother, huh?
Yep.
Let me ask you guys a question because I've been noticing this because I did watch the debate, which I thought the debate was good. I thought both people did a nice job and they didn't get out that. I hate that. Oh, you're a moron. No, you're a scumbag. It's like, I hate that stuff. And they didn't do any of that, which I really appreciated.
No, they left it up to the media to point out all the lies, but they didn't point at each other.
So were there a lot of lies?
Oh, there were a lot of lies. Yeah.
Really? I didn't hear
Oh, there
about
were a
a
ton
lot.
of lies. Yeah.
So they both lied their ass off?
Well, yeah. Mhm.
Well, that'll happen, I suppose.
And then the next day, Donald Trump said that there were 13,000 immigrants in this country who had committed homicide, which I think is probably a little exaggerated.
Well, that's what they said on the debate.
I don't know. I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I think it was
13,000 sounds like a lot, but in a country of 300 million, it's
Yeah,
Well, how many
actually not
immigrants
that
are
much.
How many immigrants are there?
17 million.
Are we talking like literally just any immigrant?
well-
It's probably well into the tens of millions.
There are
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
There are. I mean, do you know how long it would take in this country for all just that many homicides to be committed? Because it's not like
One day.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what they say. but unfortunately, the FBI can't confirm that. I mean, look, even in New York, which has a huge population, or Los Angeles, or California, which has the biggest population.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 10 years worth. That's more than 10 years worth.
In the United States, there are over 21,000 homicides per year.
21,000.
So there's a lot of murder in a gigantic country.
That's just in 1 year.
Yes.
But they were talking to these people as immigrants. I think they're talking about committing those murders over several years.
Well, I'm sure they were. It's just there's nothing to back that up. That's all I'm saying. There's like nothing at all that could back.
Oh, I thought they actually had the records on them.
No. It's just made up.
It's all made up. It's all bullshit. These people are horrible human beings.
Because it is true. I mean, obviously, immigrants, there are a lot of them, and some of them commit crimes. But in almost every city where there are lots and lots of immigrants, the murder rate has gone down, not up. And of course, the murder rate's down anyway right now. But you can also say, well, it's down like from last year. But 2 years ago, it was better. So it all depends on your frame of reference, is what I'm saying.
Well, our streets are incredibly violent. You must agree with that.
Well, my streets aren't.
Depending on the street.
Well, nobody's coming to your neighborhood to commit crimes.
I mean, the thing is, though, I don't hang out at 5th and Hennepin at 2 in the morning.
But that's what I'm talking about. You used to be able to do that.
They count. But, well, I don't know. Did you ever really want to be at 5th and Hennepin at
2 a.m.?
No.
But, I mean, when I lived in Minneapolis, I'd go to, I'd walk to the Monte Carlo at probably 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but that's not the same. I mean, Monte Carlo is in a different part of downtown. That's a yuppie area.
I don't know about anymore.
I'm going to Monte Carlo.
More, I don't know.
I'm going to Monte Carlo tomorrow for lunch. What a coincidence that is.
Oh, are you?
Yep, I'm going to Monte Carlo tomorrow for lunch. I'm having a meeting.
Do you remember the all-night restaurant that was at 5th and Hennepin, right on the corner?
5th and Hennepin.
It's long gone, that's for sure. But I remember it from my cab driving days.
I'm going to 5th and Hennepin right now. Okay, so 3rd and Hennepin, 5th and Hennepin. So it was in that.
It was across the street from on the other side of the street from the lumber exchange.
Yes, right. What the hell was that called?
You'll never get it. I don't think you will.
Oh, do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
Did it start with a C?
P.
A P. What was it?
It was plantation pancakes.
Plantation pancakes.
Yeah.
You want to have something that says plantation downtown Minneapolis? I don't know if you want that or not.
Not today, no.
It's a different era.
We're talking like 1969, I think.
There you go. One thing I got to make very, very clear to people that, they're talking about this and, slavery in America and we should do this, that, and the other thing. My family didn't get here till 1885, long after slavery. Why are you picking on me just because I'm a honky?
So your family got here right after or during even the potato famine.
Yes, that's exactly right. They all came over. I think 1885 were the first ones.
Yeah, something like that.
That would have been the epicenter, I think. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was the epicenter of the potato famine.
Who was it? Oh, it was Boone and Erickson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Erickson doing the accent. He was interviewed. I think Boone was interviewing an immigrant played by Erickson coming over on a boat from Europe.
From Sweden, maybe.
Probably from Sweden.
I think those were the only accents he did.
That's probably true.
They were all Scandinavian.
But I remember he said, so Boone says to Erickson playing the immigrant, all the rest of it. He said, and I ran into you when the ship got to harbor there, and I kind of walked up to the boat to greet you, and I saw you vomiting over the side of the railing there into the ocean. I don't really understand what that was all about. I never knew you had such a weak stomach. And Erickson's response was, weak stomach? I was throwing up just as far as everyone else. Now that is a Boone and Erickson joke.
That is a Boone and Erickson joke. Yes,
no doubt about it.
And
I thought it was hilarious.
And I think, I can't say my parents thought it was funny because that wasn't their form of humor. Their form of humor. I
suppose not.
It was usually some kind of shtick.
Little shtick going on.
Vaudeville thing. Although my mother, not so much for humor, but my mother loved, she just loved, Broadway musicals.
Oh, did she? I didn't know that.
And she had a bunch of them. And if I really wanted to piss my dad off, I would go over to our little hi-fi and I would play the the music from the play Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
My dad would go into a rage.
And I didn't like it too much. Didn't like Oklahoma a lot.
Well, and also Oklahoma being glorified in any way.
Oh, well, yes.
And I sometimes I remember a couple of times. I think one time in particular, I just wanted to see his reaction. I said, "Hey, Dad, were there really Surreys with a fringe on top when you lived in Tulsa?"
Probably not.
And he said, "No, there weren't." And leave me alone.
Didn't want to be involved in that.
Not so much in that, no.
Although one of my favorite people in the world was from Lawton, Oklahoma. He's a great guy.
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle was from Oklahoma. That's right.
From Lawton.
He was from Lawton, just like Steve Hatley. Worked at 1500 KSTP, did middays when I was the night guy there. And he's the guy. Did you ever hear the story ended?
No.
He's working at WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And
was that like the all-night station where everyone all the truckers could hear?
I think
it had to be
I think that's right.
50,000 watt clear channel.
Sure. So he's working there, and he gets in one day, and he gets out of his car, and just then Elvis Presley pulls in on his motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many years ago this was.
Mm-hmm.
And so Steve went over and said, "Hey, Elvis, how you doing?" Because Elvis was always at WHBQ in Memphis.
Sure.
He walks over to him. He goes, "Hey, man, that's a beautiful motorcycle. That's really, really nice. It's unbelievable." Elvis goes, "You like that, huh?" Goes in, comes back out, and by coincidence, Hatley's leaving. Same time Elvis is, and Elvis says, "Hey, man," throws him the keys, gives him the motorcycle.
Oh, man.
Okay. The downside to that whole story, several years later, I get a call.
Oh, no.
Steve Hatley was just killed in a motorcycle accident. Killed in a motorcycle accident on Elvis Presley's motorcycle.
See, now that's my kind of story.
Jesus, that's a story right there.
All the stories I tell end with some sort of tragedy.
Your life story,
yeah,
the whole deal.
Well, my friend Abby always says, if this is another bummer story, I don't want to hear it.
Well, what the hell, you know?
It's because that's my philosophy of life. You know, you come for the laughter and you stay for the tears.
Yeah, pretty much the deal. Pretty much the deal. Do you think we will ever be able to go back and hang around at 5th and Hennepin at 2:00 in the morning? Is that ever going to happen again?
Well, it might be that someday it'll just be too boring.
Well, maybe. Could be.
Who knows where the next epicenter will be?
When I look back at being a young kid, 7, 8, 9 years old, and walking down downtown from Plymouth and Bryant Avenue, as a little kid, I would walk downtown and roam around with my buddies and all that stuff, because it's only about a mile and a half, maybe 2 mile walk, something like that. And it's not like you could miss your target because that's where all the tall buildings were.
Yep.
But I mean, nobody ever bothered me. It just never happened. I
hung out there a lot, but it was always in the daytime.
Yeah.
So I think in most urban places, there's day and there's night, and they're as different as day and night.
The only thing I did like about that, because I was lifting a lot of weights and was a bigger guy, I got to know every bouncer in downtown Minneapolis because they always wanted to know like the bigger guys.
Yeah.
Because if you were going to cause trouble, they wanted to know in advance that you were a troublemaker.
Yeah, I don't think that was the one exception might be Moby Dick's, where they would just paralyze you.
Well, that did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, matter of fact, I told you my buddy was the head bouncer there. His fists were honest. I got big hands, and his fists were like that much bigger than mine.
Yeah, so basically the size of both of my hips.
Yeah, pretty much true.
Yeah.
But I remember I was there and I ran into him down there, and some guy was making an ass of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy walks over to him and he says, "I'm going to give you a choice, and it is your choice. You can go out the front door and go home, or you can out the back door with me and go to the hospital." That's pretty clear and direct, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's illegal to say that to someone. But,
well, maybe not back in those days.
Well, I mean, I should say, it's what would be the assault?
Assault.
I guess that's assault, right? And then battery is when you actually
hit
guy.
him. Yeah. Verbal assault is that's.
But it's just a technical thing anyway.
It's pretty much true.
People don't get arrested for threatening people very often, unless you're threatening to kill someone important. Then maybe. The thing is, I mean, I would when I was from the time I was in junior high school on, I always transferred. I took the bus over to the university.
Oh, sure, yeah, yep.
And so I always had to transfer to the Bryn Mawr bus downtown.
No, 7th and Hennepin.
Yeah, 7th and Hennepin.
There you go.
And on cold winter days, I would wait inside, just right inside the doorway of the Forum.
Oh yeah,
Forum restaurant.
Yep.
And then and when you walked in, there was a little I don't know what you'd call the things, but one of these little, they'd have the little white lettering and the black background, and they'd put the day's menu there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so if I had a while to wait, I would rearrange the letters.
Of course you would.
Yeah, like today fried puke. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't. It was too easy, right?
Should mention you were like 55 at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of such great. Andy, it's really too bad that you don't have those memories. But I suppose it doesn't matter since you didn't go through it. It doesn't matter. But having all those memories of when downtown Minneapolis was just magnificent, and I love downtown St. Paul too. Yeah. I was one of the few Minneapolis guys that would actually go over to St. Paul because it was totally different.
It was completely different.
It was great. I mean, both cities, I absolutely love both cities. They were completely different, and it was just a thrill. Loved it.
Yeah, St. Paul, like downtown, was almost like a neighborhood.
Yeah, I agree.
And Minneapolis, it was just like a center of excitement and entertainment.
Dayton's and Donaldson's.
And let's not forget Playland.
Playland was wonderful. I got yelled at there.
Playland, yep. At what is that, like between 8th and 9th, was it on Hennepin?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah,
that's about right. Playland, because I got in trouble there because I was kidding. I was only like 16 years old, and of course, in order to play those games back then, you had to be 18. Not a lot of people knew that. They didn't, because I don't think anybody ever got thrown out.
No, I was playing in those games when I was 14.
Absolutely. Sure. And nobody ever got thrown out unless you were a pain in the ass. Then they go, you're not old enough. You got to get out.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I do remember I walked in one time. The guy comes over, oh, you're back. I said, yeah, what's going on? And he said, I got to make sure, that you're old enough. Do you drive? And I said, no, I do not drive. He goes, well, let me see your Social Security card. And I said, I don't have it. He goes, okay, well, if you're old enough, I want to see your draft card. And I said, oh, I burned it. He said, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that might. Some people would be offended by that.
It was a joke, but he didn't see it as a joke.
Well, I kind of burned my draft card.
Oh, yeah.
And I better add the context there. So we were sitting in my friend David Kalachi's basement.
Oh, sure.
I believe that we were 19 at the time when they had the first draft lottery.
Oh, I remember it.
And a lot of people don't know what that was anymore. They never knew what it was, but they would call out, there were 366 cards or whatever they would call out. They would draw it in, draw a card. And so if, for example, your birthday came on a day when let's say your birthday was April 15th.
Right.
So if they pulled out April 15th, then it was card number 360. You were not going to Vietnam.
Right.
And if it was like 10, you probably should say goodbye to your friends.
That's correct.
And so my number was called, and it was 355, as I recall.
Jesus, Palomino.
And this is in the middle of the Vietnam War, and we're all a little bit worried.
Yep.
So I took out, this was just an instinct that I had. I mean, I didn't think about it. I took out my 1A draft card.
Ooh.
And I rolled a joint with it.
Oh, God.
And I got higher than a kite.
Well, it all worked out. I was number 27. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
I was actually, I don't know how you would say this, because I was drafted into the Marine Corps, but I was never in the Marine Corps because the day of my exam, they found not one, but a double hernia from lifting weights and all the rest of it. They said I could not go in the Marine Corps with a hernia, but if I wanted a free medical operation, that all I'd have to do is sign on for another 2 years in the Marine Corps, and they would fix my double hernia.
Boy,
And I'm like, I don't think so.
that's not a good trade.
No, it really is not a good trade.
I mean, even the twins have made better trades than that.
I don't know about that.
Well, okay, I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, you're exaggerating a little bit now.
Well, it's, I mean, what is it? It's a hernia. They reach in, grab a big portion of your gut, throw it right back in.
Yeah.
Sew it over. You're good to
Pretty
go.
much, yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. The double, but yeah, they would not let me.
That's funny.
Would not let me in the Marine
So that
Corps.
hernia saved your life.
Probably did. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, you might be right about that. Was such an interesting period after Vietnam. All those guys coming back, guys and women coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my brother Terry is a perfect example. He was never the same after he went to Vietnam for a couple of tours.
No.
Not that he was worse or anything, but he was just a totally different person.
Well, I mean, we started learning then about what post-traumatic stress was.
Yeah, very true.
And it's real. I mean, I've experienced it, and it just stays with you,
So you never even had to have the exam or anything because you were 360 or 355.
I was called I got a letter saying I was to report to them for the exam.
Oh, really?
But I was able to put it off for like a month. And then in that month came the lottery.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, but I was 1A. And I mean, look, they weren't going to send me to Vietnam.
No.
On the front lines, I don't think so. I think as soon as I complained about everyone getting up too early and I was trying to sleep, they'd say, this guy's a pain in the ass. No, they would have. I probably would have done something like J.D. Vance did. I would have written press releases or something like that. But no, but still, I'm not. I don't think I could have lasted even doing something like that.
Well, it's interesting, Andy, is what he's talking about. As I look back now, and some of it was in Vietnam, and some of it were other things, but by the time I had turned, I bet maybe 55 years old, 90% of those guys were dead.
Yeah.
Some of them came back and never recovered from it. Some of them killed themselves. Some were killed in Vietnam. So, I mean, 90% of them were dead by the time I was about 55
and a lot of
them
were basically very slowly tortured and killed by Agent Orange.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That was a very, very big part of it.
I have a brother-in-law. He's not with us anymore. And he probably had 5 or 6 organ transplants.
5 or 6?
Yeah,
why?
Because of Agent Orange. His kidneys, his liver, all these things just shut down. That's what that stuff does to you, because that's what it's made for.
Right.
To destroy the organs of human beings.
Unfortunately, I have to read a headline to you from the AP that I don't understand what the hell this means. I don't get it. More Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week, but layoffs remained historically low. Well, doesn't that just mean that no one's working? If you're not laying them off and there aren't enough people working, it means they're not working.
But the way I would see it maybe is that people stop working but they get some other gig or something, right? And then they get older and then they got no gig, or they don't, probably in most cases, they just don't want to find another gig because they're old and they can't do stuff, like stocking the shelf at super value.
Right.
They just can't do that anymore. And so that's when they apply.
So you think it's all older people?
I think a good share of them is, yeah.
It probably could be. That's probably right.
I mean, it's really tough to get any job. If you're unemployed, trying to get a job when you're, say, 55, it's not easy. Now, obviously, you could go to work in a abattoir. How do you like that?
Abattoir. There you go.
I know. I love that word. It means, of course, like a butcher factory. And that's why I love the word.
That's true, because it doesn't sound like
really, it sounds like a romantic French word.
Yeah, it sounds like a place where you read books while sipping wine.
Yeah, I know. That's why I love the word. But it's just that, the people who are working in the meat factories, they're almost all immigrants, because people born in this country just won't do that.
Yeah.
And white people, generally speaking, won't do it.
Indeed. Got to read a headline to you and get your take on this whole deal, because not that I didn't see it coming, but I didn't think it'd be this blatant. how black leaders in New York are grappling with Eric Adams and representation. This guy, how did he think he was going to get away with that?
I think most of them have turned on him very easily and quickly.
You got that
I suppose
right.
nothing's easy, but
Man.
yeah.
So wasn't he asking for, well, I need a couple more coach seats for my kids, or
I'm sure he was.
I mean, but why would you even do that? If you're getting grift, don't you go a little higher up than a coach seat?
It's New York.
Well, I suppose.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He probably aimed, in some cases, he aimed low, but I think in other cases, not so much. He wanted more than that.
I haven't read the story. So he took a lot of money from a lot of different people in Turkey or something?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't read that much of it either, I have to admit.
Well, how do you think you're going to get away with that?
Well, because you have that sense of grandeur.
No, I suppose.
There you are, Like, look at Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
I mean, he owned the whole city.
He did.
And then he pissed everything away.
I know. I don't really understand these people, and I don't know how they do it or why they do it or what. It makes no sense to me. But
well, some people can be corrupted, and there's a few who can't.
Do you think most of our politicians are filthy?
Well, I mean, it depends how you define filthy.
Oh,
I know I sound like Bill Clinton, right?
Yeah, now you do. Yeah.
But
the meaning of is.
But there's a lot of take insider trading, for example. It's a good example.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of them who are doing insider trading.
Ubiquitous, pretty much.
Yeah, because they can.
Yeah, why not?
But I thought that was illegal. Just unethical.
It isn't illegal for congressmen.
Well, it's technically not insider trading because they're not technically considered insiders. That's the thing.
Right.
They don't work for these companies. They still, in an indirect way, control them, but they don't directly control them. Therefore, they're not insiders.
Well, I think that's part of it. But I mean, look at the guy, the construction company czar in Las Vegas. He was like this, great gambler. He had a reputation as being, just a sharp gambler. And he was getting so he was taking bets from people who were losing, which is pretty much why you take bets.
Right.
Because people are going to lose. And so he had guys who were losing, millions of dollars. And one of the guys was a CEO of a large company. And so basically, so this guy was, instead of paying the money, he was giving tips, insider tips to the construction guy. Now that was considered insider trading by both of them.
Yeah.
So in some cases, well, although I suspect the guy had committed so many other crimes,
right,
that this was just the one they could get him on.
So the crimes are all of this stuff is happening nonstop. The crimes being committed by politicians in this country are just by the thousands.
And this is one reason of many why. And I don't go around saying everything is rigged, but the stock market is basically rigged because all the liquidity is being sucked out by people who have this information.
Yep. And
they don't even have to take it. I mean, they suck out the liquidity like at the end of the year, a guy can sell, for $25 million, he can sell stock that winds up costing him $25 or $2,500 or $25,000, but it doesn't matter. They're just, again, it's a way of sucking liquidity out of guys like us who don't have that ability to do this.
Why don't we double and triple check our representatives in politics? I mean, why do we allow them to get away with this stuff? I just don't get it.
Well, and some of the stuff gets reported in some newspapers.
Yeah, some.
But the fact of the matter is, if you're living, say, in Cincinnati, and you're hoping to get some of this information from your local newspaper, this is like one of 100 newspapers owned by a hedge fund. They're not going to report anything.
Yeah.
So this is one small component, but the fact that hardly any cities have scrupulous newspapers anymore, it doesn't help. Newspapers
are really over, aren't they?
Well,
sadly,
I think, except of course, we've talked about this. The New York Times will be there forever.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe the Wall Street Journal will be there forever. The Washington Post, it's a very good newspaper, but they're in debt. And so whether they make it, and then Minneapolis, I always say Minneapolis. Why do I say
Minnesota,
that?
man?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Minnesota Star Tribune. Now on their like editorial page, they are begging for money.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really
begging for money?
Oh,
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
No, and what they should, I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. They're begging for money from the very people who are supporting them the most. And what they ought to be doing, and I assume they're doing it, but maybe not well enough. They ought to be getting $100 million grants from liberal institutions.
Yeah,
that's where the money's going to come from.
I guess. I mean, I cannot believe there's so much money floating around now. My God,
Yeah,
it is just absolutely unbelievable. What time? You have your started time for Sunday yet?
what's that?
Your start time for Sunday in the marathon.
Oh, in the marathon. Oh, yeah. So I've been, I'm, what you do is you work up to it, but then you don't actually, if you've never ran one before, you don't run a marathon to practice.
No.
You might go up to say 15 miles.
Okay.
And you figure that the idea is if you can get 15 miles, you can get 26 miles.
No, that's true.
I mean, it's not always true. So I'm up to about 1,500 yards.
1,500 yards. That's pretty good, though.
So I'm getting there. Maybe next year.
What? That's 15 football fields.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, you're moving right along.
How about you? Are you ready?
I got about 8 miles a day that I put in. So I do about a third of a marathon every day.
I know you walk a lot.
I don't run at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I used to run.
I did too. I ran back in the day, but I don't run at all. I do very fast. Well, I don't know if it's very fast walking. It's somewhere between 3.5 and 3.7 miles an hour. So that's pretty fast walking.
That's at my best. That was about what I was doing. Yeah,
that's about right.
I wasn't even running much faster, but
what's really weird about that is you get out on that walk and you got 6, 7, 8 miles to go, whatever you're doing. And you go, oh God, that's a long. But you get about 1 mile in and you just feel wonderful.
Oh, it's amazing.
I have never experienced that runner's high.
Oh,
really?
No, never.
God, it's wonderful.
And then there's a
That's
point,
too bad, Andy.
like in the middle of it, you might say, God, I'm never doing this again. And then at the end, you're thinking,
Yeah.
I'll be here tomorrow. That's for sure.
At the very end, yes, exactly.
Yeah, no. So it is. Nice. I never really looked at. I heard the term. But for me, high would be like for a normal person, just a good attitude, But yeah, I guess I would run a mile in about 11 minutes. It's not real fast.
Oh, but it's still an 11-minute mile. Nothing wrong with that.
But it was okay. But the only time I would speed up would be like when a 75-year-old woman would pass me.
Oh, that just happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just happened to me.
It is humiliating. Let's face it.
That woman had to be at least 75, 80 years old. She's like blowing right past.
Yeah. Me. Yeah. And there was always, when I was running around the lakes, there was always one woman who was probably 60. And she probably weighed about 90 pounds. And she would just buzz past me. And it's like wherever I ran, she would be running past me. I hated that woman.
You hated her? Did you really hate her?
No, I didn't.
I didn't think so.
I admired her.
Not your kind of deal. No,
I could just imagine my mother, whizzing past me on the running path at Calhoun. I would not be able to tolerate.
I understand that.
My mother. I always tell one good mother story. So, and this was a story that just came back to me. So I got home from school. It's about 3:30. And, my mother had all these autoimmune disorders. And she liked taking, pills that made her feel better too. So I get home from school and she's lying in bed and she says, Mike, come in here for a minute. So I walked in. She said, I want you to.
Excuse me.
No,
sorry.
I caused that. And I said, okay. She said, I want you to, can you get me my medications? I said, sure. Which ones do you want? And she said, surprise me.
I don't think that's a healthy way to deal with medication.
What do you mean? I think it's wonderful.
It's a joke.
See, Andy. What the hell? It all works out.
That's you know me well enough to know that's one of my mother jokes.
There's nothing wrong with mother jokes.
No, there's a lot of people who genuinely do that, though.
Pretty much.
Just to grab the nearest pill bottle. It's like, muscle relaxers? Sure.
Oh, yeah. No,
sounds like an enjoyable evening.
Well, yeah. And I do remember coming home from school and seeing her asleep at the kitchen table with the cigarette having smoldered down to the filter in between her fingers.
I remember that. Yep.
And the pill bottle right next to it.
There you go.
Will that be benzos or Quaaludes?
Well, it starts out with Quaaludes.
So there's a reason they don't sell those anymore.
Right. So in the 50s, it's Quaaludes.
Yep.
And then the benzos come in, and the doctors are not real smart when it comes to medications. They know nothing about pills, medications, or anything. But they do know that fewer of their clients, or patients as we call them, will die if they give them benzos instead of Quaaludes.
No, really?
Yeah, because benzos, you can have a martini or two and take your Quaaludes. Maybe you'll sleep for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But it won't kill you. But with barbiturates, it would.
Barbiturates, yeah. You mix a barbiturate with alcohol, it's lights out pretty much forever.
And it's like Marilyn Monroe time.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much true. All right, that is going to do it. Any closing words?
I hope this intro music works. That's my closing words.
Okay. Mike, any closing words? Hoping to.
Just if you're playing baseball right now, don't gamble. And if you're not playing baseball, bet everything you can.
There you go. All right. That'll do it. Thanks. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you.
Every time I hear the same, reminds me how you talking.